You are listening to the Dr.Grande podcast. Another episode begins right now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And another warm welcome to this week's episode of the Dr. Grande podcast. I am Dr. Grande, and you guys missed a great stream where I was stripping. More on that later. But we are joined with, for a second debut, the second guest award goes to the one, the only, the Daniel son. Hello, Daniel.
First repeat customer, let's go.
Thank you, come again. So, Daniel, we've been kind of hinting at this for a while, and we're talking about the internet. And if you guys watch the stream, which I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Shameless plug, you got to watch the stream, because a lot of the stuff that sometimes I draw in to the podcast is related to what we do on the stream and other stuff. So if you're not on the social medias, if you're not on the stream, you're missing out. Shameless plug the plug. But we've been talking about the internet for a while, and I said, since the internet's so prevalent, and since I found someone more affluent and well versed in the internet, I said, Daniel, why not do a podcast about it? And we're going to talk about my lack of knowledge, and hopefully maybe you guys and Daniel can school me. Remember, the conversation continues 24/7. You can weigh in at any time at drgrande.com. That's doctor spelled out. If you want to give your opinion, give your take, educate me on the internet. So Daniel, let's start off this. Let's paint the picture for the viewer or the listener in this case. And keep in mind, we do, when I say viewer, I'm not mistaken, because we do post the video portion of the podcast on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, if you want to watch the video and see me in person. But paint the picture about how your internet experience and versatility is different from mine, in your own words.
Let's see.
Be gentle.
A lot of it looks like I find something that I find interesting for one or several of many reasons, and then I will send it to you and be like, hey doc, check this out. And sometimes I think it's something that's interesting, sometimes I think it's something that you would be interested in. Other times it's like, whoa, that's really weird. And still more times it's like, oh, that's kind of gross.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here. I grew up in the technology era, and I think...
So, did you have an iPad or a smartphone at the age of 5?
No, but no, Mr. Technicality. But what I'm saying is I grew up where those things were coming out and technology was evolving. Like, I remember...
Right. You remember dial-up internet.
Oh, okay. Thank you for predating me.
Look, no, I remember dial-up
Doc,
internet.
it's a dinosaur. Ding, 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 ding. And some people are listening. The sad thing is, Daniel, some people are listening going, what's dial-up internet? I'm an old fart, okay?
No. I'm there with you when people are like people complain about technology, or like they find a cassette tape and they're like, is this from the Civil War?
No, I remember going to freaking Best Buy and go and get one of those net zero connector thingies so you can have a subscription for dial-up internet and you can hear the nearer ding, 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 not to date myself any further, but like my first computer that I can remember actually using was a Windows 1995 desktop computer. It was my dad. He didn't let me on it because they were super high price compared to relative to today. And not everybody had one. You had to be like an office or business person to have a computer. But I mean, like I said, technology has come a long way. However, I feel for myself, and again, you guys can weigh in, drgrande.com, or come talk to me about it on the stream or whatever, is that I feel like although I've evolved, like I remember Like I had the Razor flip phones. Those were cool. I mean, you weren't cool if you didn't have one of those. And I remember texting.
I remember that.
I remember texting, and you had to hit like the 3 button twice to get the right letter. And I never text. When texting was a big thing with those types of phone, everybody was like, "Man, why don't you text?" I'm like, "Just call me." There's too much to hit the button, and then you hit the wrong letter, and then you have to delete it and go around again.
And it's because of that era that the YRU
Yeah, the little abbreviations.
with only 3 letters instead of the full words
Well,
was a thing because you were also paying for per character.
exactly. Hold on there, Billy. You're getting ahead of ourselves, and you're making us look like old farts. I'm trying to stay relevant. I'm trying to look like a new product on the shelf. Okay. But no, I remember that, and so everybody like they were texting like, "Dude, why don't you text?" And I'm like, "It takes too much work, and I don't like the not proper English. I don't like how." And then the letter R, you, for instead of putting how are you, I prefer the proper. But I tell you, the iPhone, the first one came around, and oh my God, I went from 0 texts a week to like 50. And then it came to the point where it's like, Mom, we need the unlimited package because you're not going to limit me to 50 texts a month. No way in hell. All my friends are texting. I need to text message. Text message is an important part of my life. You know, and then I remember like, you know, your teachers were like, well, you can email me your assignment or electronically submit it. I'm like, what? And, you know, and then like I could do it all from my phone. I remember in college, I'd be like, oh, I got that PDF for you. There you go. And it's so relevant. But like I said, technology's evolved and I've kind of evolved the use of it. But the internet, I feel like I'm a dinosaur. And some people are going, well, if you remember dial-up the internet and you remember net zero, you are a dinosaur. But what I mean by that is that, like, I use the internet. I've always found it interesting for people who go, hey, I belong to this forum, or have like this go-to websites or set of websites that bring them entertainment, or they get like news or whatever they're interested in, videos, whatever they're in. And my subset of what that would be for me is tiny or abysmal. Like I'm more of a practical person. Like I search Google, like I need this, and I search it, boom, there it is. Like for math stuff, I've saved web pages. For Spanish learning, I've saved pages, but I'm not like in tune with the internet in terms of like meme culture. I do use them, but there are people who like know them like to a philosophical level where like they understand all the references. And I find through our conversations on stream and off stream that you are more well versed on that. So my question is, how does one get well versed in that type of genre, if you will? And to the viewer, what are your go-to entertainments apart from YouTube, apart from Twitch, apart from Spotify? Your entertainment are things you like, little treats, if you will, of the internet that you enjoy.
Let's see. So I guess a way to get started would be to just find one of those entertainment sites. So for a while, I was pretty heavily a browser of this site called The Chive. No, recommendations to or against checking it out. Do that at your own leisure if you so choose. This is not me recommending it. And then after a while on that site, I kind of came to the realization that a lot of the stuff on that site was just kind of reposted from Reddit. And I knew about Reddit at that time, but then I decided, you know what? I don't want to see like someone else's pickings of this other site that seemingly has a bunch of interesting things all the time.
You want to go directly to the source, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I'm not trying to make myself seem like I'm an old fart. Maybe I did, but the dial-up internet. Thank you, Daniel.
Hey, my dad had a bunch of AOL CDs.
Okay, so here's the thing. I was recently in New York, and I talked about this in a previous podcast, and I was with my uncle, and granted, my uncle's a little bit older. I mean, he's in his late 50s. And I hate it. I hate it with a passion when they're like, "Oh, do you have an email with us?" And he's like, "No." And then they're like, "Oh, what's your email?" And it's blah 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 at AOL.com. And they're like, "Oh, AOL." And I'm just like, "Oh no,
dude.
please get a new email address."
My mom's email is at cs.com, which is for CompuServe.
Oh god. Well, I mean, I will admit the very first email address I had, because back then, children, the internet, you could go on chat sites, and I did go on chat type thing. Let me tell you. Okay, so I think of myself as a very innocent internet user. When I got on those chat rooms, my innocence, like, it's like you look through the world and a puppy dog eyes, and then you just see real stuff, and you're like, okay, I'm growing up now. There was so much shit on those chat rooms. I mean, there was no wonder that they're shut down. But I mean, my very first email address, which I have access to, so I do have an @msn.com email address still floating around, and I still use it. I mean, it's not my primary email, but I remember putting it on my resume once because that was my primary email at the time, and people are like, "You should really update this email address." I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "MSN's so old, it's out," and I'm just like, "Okay, but it's my email address. I mean, who cares? You can correspond and communicate with me, but no, it's perception, if you will." So
yeah, I had a banker on my ass. So a guy from the company that I bank with called me one time, and apparently the primary purpose of the call was to notify me that they were going to start charging me like a usage fee or something. But he didn't open with that. He opened with, "Is this your email address?" Read it to me, and I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Oh, you might consider changing it." And I'm not gonna read the email address, because I don't need your viewers contacting me. But it's my first email address, and I actually created it in middle school, and so it's kind of embarrassing to read.
But here's the thing,
But
though.
I still have it because I have elderly family members that aren't going to know to contact me at another email address or any other form of communication
Well,
if I changed my email address or something.
right.
And it's convenient because I can just, if I have to sign up for something, oh, geez, they're probably going to send me spam. That's the email address I give.
But here's the thing, though. It's like, when did everybody suddenly become a subject expert of what a good email address is? I mean, isn't the sole purpose for email to be able to correspond with each other? So, I mean, there's obvious. I mean, if you're in a professional setting, you don't want like big balls 92 yahoo.com.
Cockduster 3000.
You know, I mean, there's certain like guidelines, but I mean, again, like and I remember like going to computer class, because in my particular junior high school, there was computer class for one day a week, as a part of the English class. I don't know why they joined the two, but they're like, "Okay, kids, today we're going to create an email account." And I'm like, you guys are all excited. I've had email for like 6 months. I mean, I'm MSN, baby. You can't even get that email address anymore, but and when I gotta stop saying, but like, I remember when email first came out, it was very like formal stuff, or like, oh, damn it. Okay, if I say like,
because the beginning of the internet was, it's just another way to communicate.
Right. And
when emails, the era of emails that you're talking about, it was still very much like that.
And then I had there would be this one family member that wouldn't text, was too busy to make phone calls, but would email me. And so we have these like exchanging emails. And then I met people when I went to England, And then we still before this was before a little bit before I was on Facebook. It was like this type of setting. MySpace was the primary social media network, and with MySpace, it was like what's your profile picture, your profile background, and your profile music all played in conjunction if you were cool or not. I remember that, and but. Then nowadays, it just seems like email is just so casual now. It's just like as if you're sending a text message versus like a formal letter, typed letter,
And
you know?
I think a big influence on that has been the appearance or emergence of social media.
Right.
So like,
Because,
first there was MySpace, then there was Facebook, and now YouTube is kind of becoming that.
yeah.
Even though it wasn't that
Well,
initially.
I used to get so much shit, just like in Fortnite, where everybody's like, "Whoa, you got a noob? You're a noob? You don't partake in the purchase of skins?" And I was like, "No." And my very first, starting to stream, I wouldn't buy skins until I got like every 5-year-old going, "Are you new to this game?" Because of that. But like when I started texting, I text in full, complete sentences. And so I would get criticism when I go hang out with the person I was texting or saw them at school or whatever. And they'd be like, "Dude, why do you write me a paragraph?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You could say, 'How are you?' Or you could say, 'What are you doing?' with WYD." I'm like, and then I was getting sent these, it was like learning a new language. I would get sent these like abbreviations and I'd be like, "I have no flipping idea what you're talking about." I'd be like, "What?" And so it was from that moment I realized that there was this huge curve that I was behind in terms of social media and internet culture. Hence today's episode. We're getting me caught up, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, did you ever have a learning curve where you were just like, "What the flip?" Or did you, I mean, when you text me, at least, you and I text in complete sentences. My grammar might be not as on point as yours, but nonetheless, we type to each other like were speaking to each other.
Well, you didn't know me in high school or not, in middle school when I would spell awesome AUSOM.
Wait, you're telling me the Daniel that I know purposely misspelt a word for nostalgic purposes?
Oh, I mean, it wasn't nostalgic at the time. If I were to spell it that way now, it would be for nostalgic purposes.
I'm having like I
It-
believe
it-
that you're telling me the truth,
It-
but
it- it-
knowing
it-
you, I don't believe it. I'm just saying.
So I had the same sort of learning curve you did, where like I got a phone and then I started texting my friends, and some of the things I understood like right away, like R and U, but if it was like 3 letters or longer, I had no clue, and I had to ask people, and then I'd have these conversations. And then I was very much a social butterfly in middle school, so I was probably texting like 12 to 20 people a day, every day, and multiple texts per person per day.
Let me ask you this: do you have a pet peeve of someone of like a word or a way of responding to a text? Do you have a pet peeve that you just like if someone texts you that you like an order you're an utter horror or like displeasement of that response or that manner of texting or responding?
No, because if they're using that sort of short format, I think like, why are you doing that? Like, it's not necessary, but at the same time, I understand that it's kind of been ingrained in society of like make things easy, and so fewer finger taps to send a text message is technically speaking easier.
Right. But here's the
So
thing. I developed one pet peeve for one response. And that's the response nah. NAW. I don't know
And
what it is.
I think I've sent that to you a couple times just because I knew it
I
bothered
know,
you.
but here's the thing. I don't know where this pet peeve developed from, but I would much rather say nope, no, hell no, F no, than nah. I don't know what it is. Just nah just makes me feel like I want to punch you. I don't know.
It's lukewarm. It's like, have you ever had lukewarm water? It's not cold and it's not hot. You just kind of get it in your mouth and it's like, ugh, no, spit it out.
Well, I guess I don't know.
That's the impression I get.
Well,
because nah is exactly that. It's a lukewarm sort of thing.
yeah, I prefer the hard no than the nah.
Instead of the cold no or the hot yes, for the sake of this comparison, you're just like, nah. It's like you're trying to be like a softer.
I know, but for some
warmer
reason
sort of thing, but-
it boils my blood. It like just makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, and I don't know why. It's just annoying, and I'm just like, just please text me no. And the person that did it the most was the person I was seeing for a while, and it just every time they did it.
Is that why? Because you had the buildup of over and over and over and over and over again?
No, because she wasn't the first one to text me that. I remember my friends used to do it. I'd be like, hey, man, just text me no, please. I don't know what it is. This word grosses me out. It makes me feel weird. And then all of a sudden, she adopted nah in her regular texting vocabulary. And I'm like, oh, my God. It's like someone has like a wound and they're putting salt water on it, and it's just like you're supposed to go, I don't like this yet. I'm going to be cordial and professional and courteous and kind,
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm certain that there are things that bother me now that did not bother me before, and that's generally related to a certain amount or type of exposure.
Right.
So like exposure can sensitize you to something. And so it sounds like maybe you never liked it to begin with, but
I don't know why though.
The exposure that you got sensitized you to it, and so now it bothers you more than it did before. That's what it sounds like.
Well, I guess like through my careers and stuff that I've had, through sales and stuff, I'd rather someone like tell me no than nah and kind of just brush me off. I don't know. Maybe it's that. I don't know. But so there was the text messaging. But how does so there was the learning curve of text messaging. But how do you? I mean, I think from all the panelists, Ryan, Corey, and myself, I think you're the most well versed in the internet because you have. Especially when we did like video viewing Wednesdays, which we need to bring back, by the way. So if you guys want to bring it back, let me know. You would.
I felt like I single-handedly carried that.
You carried the segment, yes, but you would find things that I would never imagine or dream in a million years would be on the internet, and like the videos that Corey sent you, which I'm not gonna highlight those videos or put them in link.
But like those totally shocked you, and they didn't really faze me.
Exactly.
Partially because I'd seen them before.
But the big thing that comes in my mind when I see something like that. So for the audience, just to kind of paint them a picture, have you guys ever seen a video that made you go cringe, just like or something that's just like you're just in shock,
just something that like disgusts you or freaks you out?
I mean, I guess a famous, well-known quoted cited one is 2 girls 1 cup. I mean,
you have battle scars if you've seen that.
Here, you gotta let me know if you see it. Just don't be like, yeah, doc, I seen it, because I'm gonna wonder, like, well, why did you seen it, and how much of it did you watch? I watched it to the end, doc. I gotta see what happens. I'm in for 3 girls 1 cup. but just to make clear that I didn't go search for that. I told this story on stream, and I'll tell it to you guys because I don't want to make it kind of like known or alluded that Doc goes searching for this stuff, because I didn't know people poo on each other. I did not know that. Thank you, the internet. But my brother he came up with his laptop, and here's a bit of advice, everybody. If someone comes up to you with the laptop and they're hiding the screen initially, and they're like, "Hey, man, do you want to see a video?" Just say no. Just say no. But it's my brother. I thought, okay, I knew it was gonna be stupid, but to the degree, I know there's stupid stuff on the video. I know there's stupid stuff on the internet. Like there was a website called stupidvideos.com. It'd be stupid things people like carrying a friggin' TV and then they fall off the stairs or something. I don't know. But anyway, he shows me the video and it's like right smack where all the action is happening. He already had it pre-loaded, ready to go. And I was like, "Blah!" And then when you're watching that stuff, it's not that you want to watch it all. The things that going through my head is like, who agreed to make this video? And then how did you agree these two girls to poo on each other and do all this stuff? Whatever the video, I've never seen the end of it. I'm just going to admit that right now. But like, can you guys relate to that? Have you guys seen stuff where you're just like, why is that a thing? And so the question is, I guess, Daniel, how does someone think of that and why do they produce it? Like, what's the point of Two Girls, One Cup?
Oh man, you're really dishing out the hard questions.
That's what I do. You come into the Grande zone, you get the hard questions because I like to be entertaining, but I also like to be informative. If you haven't caught on to that, but I know you're the producer of Two Girls, One Cup. I tracked you down, social media, everything points to you. Why'd you produce it? I'm joking.
In case you're not aware, there are a lot of people out there, like a considerable portion of the population, that wants attention, just generally speaking.
What attention do you get for shitting on each other or pooing on each other? Sorry.
A lot of attention. Mostly negative, but attention.
I have to say a lot of my things about life and my vision on humanity and your fellow human neighbor and all that stuff and all the good Samaritans and all that stuff have been destroyed not only by personal experience but by the internet of what lows people are able to stoop to for the internet. And I get you want attention, I get that, but so is the internet something where like it's an escape from reality, or we can find the things we're lacking in life? Is that kind of, because I feel like for some, the internet turns into this like a void filler where like there is an escape from reality. And if like the movie in Ready Player One, if you could like turn into an alternate persona and go into what we call the internet, I think people would do that. I think that would be a hot market if VR took off like that. I mean, I think that would be a very, very lucrative and very popular thing. But to some, like for me, internet is like a resource of knowledge. It's like a library. But for some, it's like the greatest entertainment, greatest fantasy, fetish world out there and you can hide. It's easy to do because you don't have to expose your face. You can't be like, okay, let's pull up the history of everybody who watched Two Girls, One Cup. Oh, look, Dr.Grande's right there. He watched that video, that little devil him. I mean, you could do things anonymously. I mean, you could have weird fetishes or not weird fetishes. You could like cat videos and you don't have to, nobody knows that it's you watching the video. So is the internet a way to escape reality or to fill a void? And number two is the ability to be anonymous while doing all that stuff, the driving force that allows stuff like that to exist.
Anonymity is definitely a big part of it, but I think another part of it is people liking to share things. Like, I saw this thing where some people found that a bunch of water had appeared underneath the grass in their yard, and so it was just this like giant water bubble in their lawn. And I was like, what the heck is that? How the heck does that happen? They didn't know, but it was just this bizarre thing that they observed in their life, and they decided to share it on the internet. Or sometimes if you get this fun idea to do something, you might record it and also put that on the internet.
Do you think? No, I think internet is a great way of sharing things. Like, for example, because of the internet, you and I can have this conversation, and people can enjoy it from not only from when we release it, but they can enjoy it. Like, someone can stumble upon it and enjoy it like 4 months from now, or someone could be like, "Hey, you remember that thing that Grande did with Daniel talking about the internet and Two Girls One Cup?" I need to stop plugging that video. And
Oh, jeez.
and parents, let me just put the disclaimer: it's not my fault. It's already on the internet. It's a well-known source. It's been there for 30 years, so I'm citing a well-known source. Anyway, don't go look at it, and don't say I recommended it.
Do not. Not
But
recommend.
I mean, I think it's great that we can share stuff. I think it's great that you could be working on your car, or I could be working on my car, and like I need help, and you're a car guru, so I can FaceTime you, and in real time I can share with what's going on. And like when I stream, I can hang out and converse with people in real time more so than I can ever do in person. I mean, I can't fill the studio with the potentially how many people can watch or be a part of the stream virtually. So I think that's good. But how does the internet turn from going to share stuff to like sharing stuff but not sharing stuff with the anonymous thing, and then some sites allowing certain types of postings and others not? Because I think Reddit, you can find there's some liberality in what you can find in their posts. I mean, you can find nude stuff in Reddit, right?
Yeah.
You can find weird
So
stuff in Reddit.
it has to do with categorization. Generally, if people see things and they're just I don't know, looking at stuff for leisure purposes, most people have themes for what they want to look at. And so a lot of these sites focus pretty heavily on that sort of organization. Terms can be like threads. So if you have a thread on a certain site, then that thread has a certain like purpose, like cat videos or cat pictures, or so maybe they have one for dogs, and then maybe they have one for cats, and then maybe they decided to separate the videos from the pictures. So then there you have 4 different things for really only like 1 or 2 topics.
Right. And like, I mean,
Does that answer what you were
certainly
asking?
for what the kind of information that, I would say the original framers were thinking about the internet. I mean, the internet came from the military to like transmit, information. Then it became a public thing, where we can communicate in, quicker than, mail. And then it became,
ARPANET?
yeah. And then it became this whole thing where people didn't trust it at first. And now it seems like everybody in their life wants to post everything about themselves, everything they're doing, check in at restaurants on Facebook. It just became socially acceptable to be like, if you're not posted on the internet, if you didn't prove that you were at the Seahawks game or whatever, it didn't happen. And it's like, okay. So there was a shift in balance of like people willingness to put on the internet to like now, like especially for the upcoming generation, where it's like, hey man, you're not on Facebook. What's your Insta? How many Insta followers do you have? And so where's that paradigm shift, and why? In your opinion and your recollection of all the shit we've been through, what do you think?
I would say that the paradigm shift definitely did not happen overnight. And depending on how you look at it, I'd say it's still going.
Mm-hmm.
But in my experience, it was kind of around the start of the second decade of the century, or yeah, So like 2009, 2010 was where you started to see that sort of thing. Because like if you remember, YouTube started in 2007,
Mm-hmm.
and before that, MySpace was really popular, but that was all really like niche. And then you came out with YouTube, or YouTube came out, and
So if I came out
Facebook
with
came out.
YouTube, we'd be in a different level right now.
Yeah. But from my recollection, it was YouTube and Facebook primarily that started it.
But what do you
Um,
think? What do you think made people from going? Like, I don't know if you remember, like, if you ever had a Facebook account while you were in high school or MySpace account. My mother, particularly, and my parents were like, "Be careful what you post on the internet because once you post it, you can't erase." And it's true because once I release something, can delete it off my page, but someone can screenshot it, record it. It's no longer mine to control once it's on the internet. So anytime I post something, I lose all possession of it. And so
when was the term intellectual property coined?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's a very good point because the internet brought up question: how do we view the internet and how do we view property of posting and stuff like that? And so that's where that term that you're referencing, intellectual property, came from. It really changed the world and how we think of things. Like, if I write something, is it mine or is it public domain? So that's very that I think shortly came after. It's got to be in the early 2000s, I would imagine. But where was I going with this? You derailed me. But my parents would be like, be careful what you post. Now everybody posts everything. I mean, people are posting sitting on the toilet from anything, parties. I mean, I think, and I don't know about you, but I think some people post too much and they're too trusting of and too sharing on the internet. What do you think?
We kind of had this shift in modesty. It was like it was this unknown thing of like, oh, we don't know what's gonna happen, and then over time, we as a society were kind of able to observe what could happen, and I think that generally we saw like the worst that could happen, but we could also see what usually happened, and what usually happened was generally quite a ways from the worst that could happen. And so I think people kind of realized, maybe not consciously, that okay, if I post stuff, yeah, bad stuff might happen, but the chances of that aren't very high. And so then people just kind of got comfortable posting stuff, and then they got attention, and then other people saw those other people getting attention, and then it turned into this who can get the most attention contest.
Yeah, and that's crazy. It's like a thing called YouTube became a thing. And then it came like, okay, who can create the most attention to this thing called YouTube? And then YouTube was like, hey, we got all these people watching this guy and they monetized it and now you can get advertising. But like, it blows my mind, and it blew my mind because I wasn't familiar with the term vlogging. I learned that a few years ago, but people literally get paid to wake up, go, okay, guys, we're going to go to the dealership and negotiate a deal. And all they do is do what you and I do on an everyday basis: cook food, talk to our friends, drive around, go to work, come back. And that's their job, is to just share with people on the internet, and even on Twitch too. There are some streamers that just stream their daily life. And people like it. For some reason, people like to watch other people live their life. And that also blew my mind. And so, like, when I approach the internet, I mean, I like sharing things with people, but I also like having my privacy too. And if I'm going to share something with somebody, the video game aspect of things it's entertainment. We share a laugh. We kind of just hang out. But things like the podcast and the Success Starts on Sunday stream on Sundays. Not plugging that, by the way. Yes, I am. It's like, okay, if I'm going to share something, I'm going to share things about my life. Crazy. I also want to share things that help people too. That can motivate somebody, that can get someone to believe in themselves. But some people are just fine, just like disconnecting and watching someone else live their life. And my question is, are we at a point, are people at a point where they're uncontent with their life, or is there a void missing in their life that we need these people on YouTube sharing their life because we don't have anything going on in our life? Is it a void? Is it a time dump? Is it a way to escape reality and not worry about all the problems just for a 45-minute, 30-minute, 5-minute moment in life? There's always a transaction. And so I feel like some people, they watch it because, one, it's entertaining, but two, I feel like other people watch it because maybe the streamer or the vlogger lives a life that they wish they had, and they kind of live vicariously through watching their vlog versus realizing that they can go do it and spend the time making that their lifestyle. See, I'd rather make my life the lifestyle I want than just watching someone on YouTube live the lifestyle I wish I could live.
There are definitely people that live vicariously through others, as you mentioned. And while I would say that your mentality is the better way to go, I think it's an unfortunate reality that a lot of people aren't necessarily that motivated. They're just kind of cool doing their thing.
But
They like feeling connected to somebody else, and that's where those daily vlog type things come in.
Do you think people, not saying that people who use the internet are lonely, but do you think internet helps a lot with loneliness in a way for these so-called YouTube stars and celebrity vlogs and all that stuff?
I think that there are people that choose alcohol, and I think that there are people that choose other narcotics, and I think there are also people that choose the internet. Like, everybody has something.
Right. We all have our vice, right?
To some degree.
So, okay, here's something also that I've always wondered about the internet. Ready?
Okay.
It's like, okay, think of Isaac Newton, Leibniz. They came up with calculus, right? And they came up with some and physics and stuff like that with so much precision without a computer, without resources literally at their fingertips, not chips. Yeah, we have fingertips. That's coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. Fingertips. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how you pay for things. You just touch a little thumbprint and then it just deducts from an imaginary number in the computer system. But anyway, but nowadays, anything I want to know and everything I want to know is right here in my pocket. I can Google it and stuff like that. However, yet human advancement and especially America education is not even in the top 10. So it's like we have more information, right? But we're not doing anything smarter.
We're not required to retain the information in our brains because it's stored digitally.
Right. But you would think having the convenience of not having to remember everything and the convenience of having everything right here, that there'd be more innovative advances, such as, like, I was in the flooring industry. That industry is so in Windows 95 makes it look like it makes Windows 95 look like a newer thing than it is. And there's some industries that they haven't been renovated, revolutionized. And we have all the knowledge and power, but we're not. It's like the advancement is not there. But when we had little knowledge and little power, there were more advancements.
It existed at some point, and then the train kind of slowed down.
But do you think
So to
the
speak.
internet has made us lazier, or made
Yeah.
us less ambitious in some ways? Not always, but in some ways. Is that a fair assessment?
I think so, yes.
Because I don't know. I find it hard to believe and shocking that it's like we have this great tool, but like there's still our failure rates in some of our high schools in the country are very high, and I know the internet can't fix everything, and I know it's a relationship between the internet and the user, but I kind of feel like if we're not achieving certain results, to me, it's kind of like a lack of appreciation of this powerful tool. It's like I have a tool, it sits there in the toolbox. Yeah, I can use it when I want to, but we don't really appreciate how much of a tool this is compared to like previous generations and previous industry leaders wish they had.
A couple things that I've seen on repeat related to this topic are like, well, can you imagine traveling back in time, like a couple hundred years to a couple thousand years, and explain that you have the entirety of human knowledge in your pocket, and what you primarily use it for is to look at pictures of cats.
That is exactly that is a perfect analogy to what I'm trying to get at, because
Alternatively, computers in the 1960s saying we had 4 kilobytes of RAM and we put people on the moon. Nowadays it's like, oh, I have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Oh, Chrome is scary. It eats up all my RAM. Oh no.
yeah, I just think so. I mean, it is so kind of circling back to the other question about like people use it as a disconnect, right? Or like to like space out or maybe not be that ambitious. Can the internet in a way be a distraction? I mean, look at how many hours some people spend on social media. Look at the hours some people spend strolling around TikTok. And it goes back to that fundamental question that I've asked through all the podcasts, even on the Success on Sunday, is that time management. And I think the power of the internet and the effectiveness of time management tied together can yield big results. And I think that's what separates people who are successful and people who are struggling in terms of businesses or like meeting goals and stuff like that. It's like they have a tool, but they can manage the tool. I feel like internet in some cases have taken over people's life. Like if you took their phone, you remember when like the teacher in class would take their phone, the kid would be like, he didn't care what we were learning.
Basically.
They felt like their whole life, their whole world just got robbed from them, you know? And I feel like people, no matter what age scale you are, well, maybe not in the 80s, but, you know, relative to our age and younger, view the internet and the phone as their world, you know? I mean, I have a lot of stuff on this phone of me, you know, and what I like to do and the convenience of it, like navigation and stuff like that. But I've never felt like I've been enslaved to the internet, other than the fact that I try to produce content for the internet. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening to this and we're on this particular topic, what advice would you say are things that people should be more aware of in regards to the internet and all that stuff? Like what would you tell someone you cared about the internet, or someone who is constantly consumed with the internet?
In very recent terminology, I might say to this person consumed by the internet that maybe they need to go touch some grass. Which, yeah, is to say that, like, if your whole life is online, then you're just inside all the time and you don't have a life, and so you should go outside and then interact with the real world, and therefore touching grass is interacting with the real world and going outside.
Well, you know what's interesting, and I'm glad you brought this up. I mean, you can, people, I've always heard, and maybe you've heard the phrase too, about being like physically present but mentally absent. And just go into a cafe, go into a restaurant, and you see this. And what you see is people
Like,
hanging
people
out.
are just on their phones.
Yeah, but they're not hanging out, but they're hanging out, but they're not hanging out because they're on their phone. They're like, dude, do you see Brenda's tweet? Yeah, I know, man. And, you know, or you're having a conversation, someone's texting, they're like, and you know they're not really listening to you. And so I think there used to be this campaign for teenagers about, because all teenagers back in the day would, I'm not trying to sound old. I'm sounding old. Maybe I need to go to the nursing home. I don't know. But but there was these ad campaigns about disconnecting. Like, take the headphones out, because everybody who was anybody would always have their headphones in, you know, and be listening to music, because music was a thing, especially now it was digital and you had your iPod, and now the iPod is the phone.
Well, now your music can finally fit in your pocket.
Exactly. And so I think, and like most things in life, I think there's a balancing act where it's okay to watch a TV show. It's okay to watch TV. It's okay to go visit and read a Reddit thread and laugh at the entertaining comments, if there are any. But don't forget to go live your life. I think so many people are so inundated with and infatuated with what other people are doing online that they compare themselves and say, see, I can't do my goal. This guy, he's doing his goal. Well, the people who are doing their goal are not infatuated with the internet and other people. They're infatuated with getting what they want. And I think so many people, and this is the heartbreaking thing that I have and working with so many people, is that I see talented people, but they keep telling themselves they can't do it because they keep watching and comparing themselves on a daily basis with the freaking phone and the internet, versus, or I should say, they are wishing and wanting, and their phone is just like their escape to go see and live vicariously through someone, versus turn the damn thing off. The screen goes black when you hit the side button on an iPhone. I don't know what it is for Android or other phones, and go live your life. Be present in the moment. And there's so many people who have like relationship problems and like, oh, my relationship's falling apart. Well, do you have conversations? Are you mentally present? No, we're always on TikTok, or she's in the other room texting and I'm in my bedroom doing this. I mean, like, go live your life, man. Get off the internet. I love the internet. I like it, but I don't let it control me. Just like alcohol, whatever, sex, or whatever you want to do. Don't let it control you. And I think that's vital, especially for the new generation. It's because I think we rely too heavily and we share too much on the internet. And let's talk about privacy for a second. The more data you freaking share, just not that your YouTube not only that your subscribers know about, but the whole freaking world, including other agencies, know about. And I don't know if we want to share all that. And I don't know, do people consider, you know, who's potentially else can see it outside their friend group, their all that stuff when they post stuff, or is it people just like, oh, me in a bikini, go?
I mean, a lot of people are hoping to go viral because then they're getting all that attention that I mentioned.
Right. And so
And
it's
a
like,
lot of people are like, attention is attention. Doesn't
Right.
matter positive or negative.
well, see, here's what one thing I learned when I was in New York. And they're like, oh, how come you didn't share it on the New York stream? Well, I can't share everything in one stream. I can't. I'm sorry, our podcast. But like my uncle showed me this show called Fantasy Island, and I only watched one episode of it, so I'm not an avid watcher of it. But it speaks. It's an analogy for real life, where we have this thing in mind. We live in this fantasy. It's like, oh my God, I got 20,000 followers. I'm famous. I'm gonna be famous. I gotta talk to my followers. Versus reality. And so sometimes we live on our fantasy island mindset where we just think, oh, I'm not saying give up. I'm not, if that's your goal, go for it. I'm not saying give up, but at what point is it a fantasy where you're wishing to happen? You're living in this world where you're an internet star, and is that reality? So are you mixing what you wish you had and what you're seeing other people do as a fantasy, or are you living in reality? And I think a lot of times the internet allows people to dream, which is not bad to a degree, and live in fantasy land. You know, because everybody's like, oh, I'm so cool, I got 17,000 TikTok followers. Okay, great. But what about that 17,000 TikTok, other than social media prestige, which I don't know why people hold that in such high regard. Is that helping you in life? Can you go get a job and say, I have 17,000 TikTok followers? Okay, you're hired. Or I have 17,000 TikTok followers. It could pay my bills. Or it will help me through my education. Like, how much are we sacrificing for this internet, this false notion of internet prestige that's socially acceptable, and reality? And do we have a problem distinguishing between the fantasy and what's reality?
Sounded like you kind of strung like a dozen questions together there, so
I put a web. You're the spider. Let's go.
no, I feel more like the grasshopper or the moth.
Oh, I'm the spider just dancing around you in my web. So, I mean, in terms of, just go with the fantasy and the reality bit I was talking about. What do you think about that?
The way you portrayed it makes it sound like it's more on the users.
Well,
but at the same time, it's not like the users are not influenced by what they're using.
Well, think about it this way. Facebook is only as big and as influential because of its large user base. If everybody got together and said, you know what, we're no longer using Facebook, Facebook would just be another internet, another domain, another page. It wouldn't be what it is today. But I think because so many people use it and it's become a part of their interaction with other people, that it kind of empowers, like, oh, you want to be a streamer? Well, now we offer a gaming streaming service on Facebook, or, whatever. So I don't think the internet can come knock on your door and be like, you're going to spend 5 hours streaming on Facebook. But the user can log on to Facebook and go, I'm going to stream for 5 hours. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, I think the user, at the end of the day, the user has the final say in what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and how frequent and how long and the duration they're going to do it. So I do think the decision is a lot with the user. However, pause. I do think that people growing up seeing the cool kids, quote unquote, the older kids, quote unquote, always engulfed in their phone and Facebook does kind of prep them and plant the seed that that's what you need to do to be cool or to live the older kid life, if you will. Otherwise, why do you and I have Facebook? Why did we have a MySpace?
I mean, if you're familiar with playground rules,
Mm-hmm.
like
I'm in
are
the
cool
sandbox
kids?
every day, baby.
Like who are the cool kids? You should try to emulate the cool kids because you want to be one of the cool people on the inside. Yeah, that's just a portion of playground rules, but generally speaking, playground rules dictate pretty much all aspects of life. Like, they don't go away. And you could construe this to, well, what are the cool people doing? Well, who are the cool people? Well, the cool people are the people that get a lot of attention online. It's like, well, what are the cool people doing to get the attention?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
No, exactly. So, in essence, going by what you're saying, it's that need to fit in that's been there since the dawn of time, to be up with the cool people, the established people. I mean, even before the internet, before computers, it was like, are you part of the high class? And stuff like that. It's like we want to belong to this need to belong to a certain social status. And it's like the internet blew that up and gave us a new tier that you have, well, I put have to in quotes, to do to be in social standings as a quote unquote cool kid. And I'm not bashing the internet. I'm not bashing Facebook. I'm just saying, what I'm telling the viewer is don't let the internet, the trends, define who you are. You define who you are. And if you want to share that online, if the 20 million freaking followers is important to you, then go for it. But don't let it consume you in terms of that's all you do. And you neglect career, education, whatever you feel that's going to make you most happiest in life and more successful in life. Don't neglect that just to say, I got 20 million views. What does 20 million views mean to you is the big question. Why are you pursuing it? Why are you posting the stuff that you post? Why do you feel the need to? And I think all users should ask themselves that question, because a lot of it's going to be the playground, going back to the playground rules. Well, I saw my brother do it, or I saw this guy I admire do it. I saw the cool girl that I like do it. So therefore I do it, and I just do it out of habit because that's where I was trained. I was conditioned to use the internet, to be present on the internet, And I think it's fine, but you got to figure out why you tick the way you tick. Why is the internet important to you? What's the internet mean to you? I don't think a lot of people have done that.
Yeah, most people don't really think about or consciously what they do and why they do what they do. And I think it would be good for society generally if people did, but
there's tons of
I think it's generally an unrealistic
there's
goal or
tons of
expectation.
right. And I agree with you, but for some reason there's just like, I feel like there's this brainwash, lack of a better term, I'm going to call it brainwashing, that it makes you go, you have to do this to be a functioning member in society, versus so this thing called the internet and wanting to be socially accepted, and you need likes on your Instagram account, or are you just a loser? You need this, but if people can control who they are and what they do, then you get to decide, do I want the likes? Do I want to post myself and what I'm doing on the internet? But when you just give into this societal norm, then you're just doing it out of habit. And I think too many people are doing that, and I think that also creates a bigger problem where people are doing it, but then they see other people doing it and they're lonely because they don't know what the hell they want. There's maybe not lonely, but they may feel like a void, but they're not addressing the void. They're just watching other people doing it, and then they get that like temporary satisfaction or that void being filled, but then they're back going, why am I not happy? Why am I feel lonely? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel that way? And I think people just need to get more control of their life back than just feed this internet black hole, if you will. I don't know why people, and I'd like to know why people don't think like that. I mean, I'll be honest. I started thinking that way very early in my life, maybe because of influences and stuff like that, and I just turned 100 years old. But no, I've always just kind of like approached it, and there was a paradigm shift where when I was just thinking like I'm doing it because everybody else is doing it, but when I learned that I can think about why I'm doing that, it put me in the control seat of my own life versus something controlling me. And I think a lot of people, if they felt that control in their life, they could do a lot more and accomplish what they want to. I think a lot of people sell themselves short, and they fall susceptible to this false notion. And if you don't have all the millions of views that Bob or Susie or whoever has, you're not popular, you're not cool, you're not part of the club. Screw the club. Make your own club, is what I'm saying.
It can be hard to take the reins of one's own life.
Yes, but it is.
So I think a lot of people just prefer easy routes.
Yes, but easy comes with a cost. Easy street is not so easy because it comes with a cost. Maybe it's happiness, maybe it's loneliness, maybe it's your career profession, maybe it's wealth, whatever it may be. But when you're in control, you write your life story. When others control you, they write your life story. And I'm just of the belief that everybody should write their own life story. And I'm for sure as hell going to write my own. And I just maybe hopefully if people are listening to this, might think about it a little bit. I like to leave each podcast with food for thought for the viewers and stuff like that. And I love producing stuff on the internet. I want to produce more stuff on the internet. I mean, no, you're not going to see me in bed. Sorry, internet. You're not going to see me wake up and go, hey, guys, oh, it was a fun night last night. Wish you guys could have been there. Check out my OnlyFans. I'm not I'm not going to do that. But I love sharing the stuff. But I love...
Check me out on the hub.
Check me up on the hub. That's a good... you should coin that phrase, Daniel. I mean, hey, you could be in marketing. But
Stop it. No.
But see, like, I like creating content, but see... I'm the kind of person who I'm not going to just be like, I'm going to do a bunch of dumb stuff so you can escape from your problems or your life or whatever you're trying to escape from, or just like waste time. I try to like enhance people. I try to entertain them. I try to leave stuff, food for thought, and just give people the reins. Not I give them the reins of their own life, but allow them to realize that life is different. And there is that possibility of making their dreams reality and taking the reins of their own life. Which I guess leads me to the final chapter of tonight's show, is like kind of circling back of who the hell has the time to make all this crazy videos anyway? I mean, I can barely find time for all the stuff I want to do. How do people have time to make those videos, Daniel?
I mean, a lot of people are not as productive as you are, and so then they have a lot more free time.
So
And
do you think in creating the videos that like Corey sent you from Modern Trees, friend sent him just to get the lineage correct, do you think it's just, is that type of video? Or, I mean, obviously 2 Girls 1 Cup is like to get attention, but also for people who are like, oh yeah, I guess. But for like cringy videos, like when people like, I don't know, we saw on if you watch the stream, one of the videos that Daniel shared is like a guy like falls falls backwards onto a pole, and then there's a cowboy going ah, is that just for attention, and the payoff for creating such a video is the amount of potential for it to go viral, or if it goes viral, or the attention he gets? Is that the payoff? Is that what people are producing those types of videos and TikToks videos for? Is that, like, would you say, the sole purpose? And what's some chance of going famous or being famous?
Despite all that we've said about trying to be famous, I think it's a little bit too narrow to say that that's the sole purpose.
But what would you say the overwhelming or the biggest purpose or purposes for videos like that would be? I mean, we may never know the true intention of. It's just kind of like those English questions. It's like, what did the author mean when they wrote blah and To Kill a Mockingbird? Well, I don't know. I'm not the author. I can tell you what I infer from my experience and what I read, but I can't tell you everything. But from your vantage point, from your experience, what do you think someone who goes through the trouble to create something like that, post it on Reddit or YouTube or whatever, or TikTok, is trying to get at? Are they trying to make people laugh? Or are they just trying to make fun of somebody? Like, what's the purpose?
I think that trying to be popular is a big part of it, and for comedy things, it could be that, oh, I had this funny idea, like you've mentioned a number of times that your brain just envisions these bizarre things.
Yeah, and that's my downfall.
No. But imagine you also had like an animation skill or ability to like make digital animations. Would you not want to put those out and share them?
Of course. And sometimes I wish maybe I should go into comedy and kind of just like make skits out of all the stuff I get in my visions I get in my brain, because I think I could do pretty well, but not gonna happen. But I mean, yeah, I get that. Like if I can like teach, like I like teaching math, for example. If I could be a good animator and I can make math teaching through animation, or like a manga or something, which I found a book like that at UW. There's a math library. And it was really effective. I thought it did great. You bet you I would do that. But like the video I referenced where the guy falls back and he like sits on the pole, and or the bike where he's riding the bike and he goes to sit down, and penetration, like that can't be for anything more than entertainment, something to laugh at, or hope my video goes viral category. I can't foresee it. I can't. And if people want to know what videos we're referencing,
I mean, it could also be a comedic take on theft deterrence.
True, but it's like I don't actively, like, I feel like there's so much stuff that I have not actively sought for the internet because of the way I view the internet. But does it take a certain mindset to or view of the internet to go, okay, the internet's like a playground. I can go find crazy shit and be entertained. Let's go. Like, what makes you go, I want to go check out Reddit, some crazy shit on Reddit? Like, are you in a mood? Or are you just like, oh boy, I finished an assignment, so I'm ready for some crazy shit. Get my mind off all the, intense stuff I just did. Is it like, what drives you to do that?
I guess for me, it's like, for me, it's a lot of, it's a mix of things. It's, I want to unwind. It's like, well, okay, how do I unwind? Well, maybe I want to laugh at something, or maybe I want to learn something interesting. Or maybe I want to look at some fan art because I really like me some good fan art.
So what
Or
would
maybe I was playing a game and something weird happened, like a bug, and it's frustrating me. And so I'm like, huh, has anyone else dealt with this? Has anyone figured out what to do about this?
well, that's
And
like
so I
going
can
to
learn
what
stuff like that.
that's going into a domain that I'm familiar with. Like, hey, I have a problem. My stream is stuttering, or I can't figure out what the hell this technique and this solution is. I use the internet to go find that stuff. But you never have a shortage of stuff. Like, for example, when we did the Wednesday video Wednesday, I think if we had an endless stream, if we did a 24-hour stream of video view Wednesday, which would turn into video view Thursday, or 24-hour video view, you would be able to supply a whole 24 hours worth of videos for me to review. I just feel that
I
way.
think I could.
Huh?
I think I could.
Yeah. But like, I mean, you mentioned that, and if you want to talk about memes and your library of memes, but you have an extensive meme library. Like, what created that habit? Like, what made you go, I'm going to do that? Am I just too business mind? Am I too like, I want to just be productive and no fun life? Or like, what category would you put me in as a internet user? How would you describe my internet usability?
I would say you're still looking at it in terms of utility, and for your entertainment utilization of the internet is minimal, because it seems like
Is that a bad thing?
there are no, but nowadays it is outside of the majority,
Right.
so not necessarily the majority is not necessarily right.
Oh, we've seen that time and time again, but yes.
So to say you're outside of the majority and to say that you're wrong are different things.
So as we wrap
Um,
up here, because we're providing I think we have a great dialogue. I mean, we can go round and round the internet for hours, but we're now almost an hour and 20 minutes into this.
I mean, hey man, a lot of podcasts that I see go for like 2-3 hours. Like,
okay, fine. We're
there's
doing
a
a
market out
24-hour
there.
podcast, the first 24-hour podcast right now.
There's a market out there for long format content.
I know, and I know. I think let me just say this. I like our conversation like this, and I'm so glad that we are able to put it on a podcast. And I think we should think of other topics like this. We were literally streaming and we talked about this, and it became a podcast idea. Like, I had something else scheduled for this week, but I think this is way better. In terms of because it's like in the moment, and we're thinking about it presently, versus like, oh, that's a good idea, let's schedule that for Tuesday next week. I don't think it would have been like this, but I think we should come up with ideas and topics like this and make future episodes. And I'm not putting a cap on it, but well, maybe I am putting a cap because I have other meetings that I have to get to. But no, I'm fine with talking forever. But what I was going to say is, what would you say? I mean, from our conversation, what would you hope that the listener, or if the viewer on YouTube, speaking of internet, hi YouTube, how'd you going? Hi Spotify, how are you doing? Not sure the different tones of voice there. What would you say you would want your takeaway for people listening to this conversation? What would you want the listener to take away from our discussion, or what should they take away from your
I would
viewpoint?
say everything in moderation. It's important to be able to relate to people and talk to people. So that can range from understanding some stuff about the internet and internet culture, but not devoting your life to it.
I think that's well said. And I just like to remind y'all folks out there that, hey, I like the internet. I use YouTube. I do scroll through TikTok. And everybody's going right now, oh my God, he's contradicting himself. No, but I do it like Daniel said, in moderation. Like the great thing about phones, and I allow this on my iPhone, it tracks and it tells me how much time I spend on social media. Now, I will say the majority of that time that I spend on social media is for creating and posting content for you guys, and interacting with you guys. Because for me, the internet is a way for me to continue building our community and hanging out with you guys, which I find more entertaining than a guy getting something stuck up his butt. But I mean, hey, to each his own. Now, I mean, there are some funny videos, and maybe on a stream or a YouTube video, which I have a lot of YouTube videos in the works right now. So YouTube, be prepared to be inundated with videos. But maybe I will share with you some of the videos that I found funny. And maybe we can have Daniel along to see his reaction, because all the streams and everything have been just my reaction of his video. So why don't we just turn the table just a little bit and make it interesting? What do you say, Daniel?
I think that would be a challenge for you, but I'm willing to accept it.
Let's see, how many videos do I have saved on TikTok right now?
Okay, no, if you're pulling from TikTok, that is a domain that that is largely foreign to me. So,
well, like so there's this guy, and I don't know if this fart is real, but he always farts around his girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And his name's Ryan too. And then he looks at the camera afterwards, and he has this weird, like look on his face after he does it, with so much pride yet so much disgust in his face, because he's, I guess, wafting his own gas. And it just, when he looks at the camera, I have to like look away. Like, I have no problem making eye contact, but it's just in that particular situation, I feel very uncomfortable. I feel like I need to go shower. And I don't like feeling like that at all. But so I got some good ones. I mean, let's see. How do I find my... Oh, okay. I got over... How many... Okay, so there's 3. Let's do some math here, kids. There's 3... So it's a grid. There's 3... row of... Each video row has 3, and how many long? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90, 100, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Holy shit. Okay, so welcome to the counting stream. Let's go a little bit further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. Let's just call it 200. So what's 3 times 200? That's what, 600?
Mm-hmm.
So I have 600 saved TikTok videos.
Oh boy.
Approximately. And so we get to watch all of them in one single sit down, because everybody wants a 2 hours stream. Actually, we're going to start our 24-hour stream where Daniel and I go to battle with videos and react to them for 24 hours. Can you imagine we're just both passed out in our computer chairs? That'd be fun. No, but
Takes out for Harambe.
Well, I mean, and like I said, I like the way you put it. For the listener or the viewer, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. If you on YouTube, comment. If you're listening, you can always email the show. Just go to drgrande.com and you can email me there. I read your emails personally. I don't have someone emailing filter, and I do respond to them. I mean, obviously, if you say, "Hey, lick my butt," I probably won't respond. But I'm just saying, I do like hearing you guys' feedback. I do like responding to it. And if you want it right on, if you send an email, I will share it with the show on the podcast. I'll read it. But if you don't want me to read it, I know some of you don't like things being read and you just want to talk to me, put in the subject, "do not read," or in the body of your email, "do not read live," or "for your eyes only," or whatever. If you put "for your eyes only," I might like open the email with like my eyes squinted, just in case if something horrible pops out. I hope not. I've been pretty good of not doing that, having that happen. Knock on wood. Anything else you would like to share, Daniel-san, before we wrap up this episode?
Uh,
Don't go watch Two Girls, One Cup.
If you see something bad, don't go deep diving for it.
Is this personal experience you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, especially for Daniel-san about his deep dive into the internet, send us emails. I will forward them, and if he wants to respond, he can. Or maybe next time he comes on the podcast, I'll ambush him with all the emails. But other than that, I appreciate you guys for tuning in each week. Hey, the support for the podcast has been tremendous. You guys really rock at that. I mean, we're over 200 and something downloads. We're going consistently since October. So that's great. If there's things you want us to talk about, if there's topics you want to hear, let me know. Because again, I care about what you guys think, what you guys want, and I want to provide you the content that you guys love. As your fellow internet provider or content creator, if you will, we can stand together and create that for you. So thank you for listening. I will see you next time. Don't be afraid to come and be a part of the live stream or the Success on Sunday. I don't bite. It's Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're moving the Success on Sundays to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But nonetheless, you can always get it on DocFlix. So that's it for this episode. Thank you, Daniel-san, for willing and being on the fly and having a great conversation. You'll be back next time, I hope, sometime soon. It was too long since your last episode, since we talked about passion. And we'll have much more to talk about. Until next time, guys, I'll see you next time.